Hi, Ma. Okay, there's 40 people here, and I think some more people are watching on YouTube. So that's as good a time to start as any. My name is Atul, and I'm Dr. Gauri's son. And I want to thank you all for coming in today and giving us 2 hours of your Friday evening. I promise you won't regret it. I want to briefly introduce my mom, Dr. Gauri Rokam, before we start today's session. She's been in the space for more than 30 years now. That is the nutrition and health space. She's super passionate about combining Eastern and Western philosophies of health. And I've personally seen her mastering and putting these concepts into practice, whether it's like learning or unlearning something she's learned before. She's a master at it. She's also always been a bit of a contrarian, trying to unearth the truth of things. And so it was the same with her PhD. She completed it from SVSI Yoga University in Bangalore, researching the benefits of fresh coconut, something that modern medical nutrition refused to accept all these many years, and she proved them wrong. Prior to that, she won the gold medal for being the Bangalore University topper in her master's in food and nutrition. And she's also interned and worked directly with many experts in the field. And her qualifications are honestly endless. There's a slide in the PPT, and you're going to get tired reading the entire list. So, among the people who've registered for this particular batch, about a third of them are redoing the course. So that should speak for the value of the course. So that should speak for the value of the course. And if it doesn't, I hope today's session will, and you'll see for yourself. I know she's put in a lot of hard work into this revamped version of the course for more than 6 months now, and she's very proud of it. So I'm excited to be here, and I hope you guys are too. So with that, I'll hand it over to my mom. Just one thing, there'll be a Q&A session at the end. So if you do have any questions through the session, make a note of them or drop them in the chat, and you can bring them up later once the session is over. Mom, to you. You have to unmute yourself now.
Yes. Thank you so much, Raja. I can see Sheila Krishnaswamy on the screen. Thank you so much. You've been my mentor and guru in a lot of spaces. Thank you for joining in, Sheilaji. So let me share my screen. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. So my respectful pranams and a warm welcome to each one of you who have joined us. And my gratitude to all those people who have enrolled for the complete course. I shall do my best to maximize your learning. I call myself a holistic nutritionist because I blend the Eastern and Western philosophies of food, and I feel it makes it holistic in nature. I strongly believe the science and spirituality have to walk together. Science is all about going outwards with a hypothesis, with a doubt, and an intellectual, rational inquiry to find solutions, whereas spirituality is going inwards with faith, shraddha. So when they come together, they complement each other, and I feel they make more meaning and they become more complete. And that's exactly what I do. I blend the modern medical nutrition with basic principles of nature cure and yogic philosophy of food. Why did I choose these two philosophies? because both these philosophies are all about enhancing health, and that's what interests me. If I have to speak about nature cure, the basic philosophy or the concept of nature cure is every organism is capable of self repair, self maintenance, and self rejuvenation, provided we give the right environment or the conditions. And our job is so simple and easy that we have to provide this condition, and the body is intelligent enough and capable enough to repair, heal, and bring it back to health. When it comes to yogic philosophy, similarly, we always think yoga is all about bending the body, but it is all about bending the mind. Why is it so important? As mind is so powerful, what happens in the mind is going to change the biochemistry of the body every moment and in seconds, which leads us towards health or ill health based on what's happening in the mind. So it becomes very, very important to mind this mind. Sadly, today, we don't seem to have a control over our mind. We have become slaves of mind and the sense organs. So it becomes important to discipline or train this mind slowly to reach our health goals. One of the biggest of the playwrights and the poet, Kalidasa, said, "Do not accept everything new as science, and don't discard everything ancient as old." It is very important to wisely pick things from both ends and blend them together to bring some meaningful solutions into our life. And this is how this course has been designed. Let me run you through very, the important things or what is so unique or different in this course very quickly and briefly in the next 5 minutes. Well, as I said, if you're expecting something out of the world or something what nobody knows from this course, let me tell you, I'm sorry to disappoint you. It's an emphatic no. Absolutely no. My whole idea is to bring in the basic fundamental principles, facts, and concepts from all these three philosophies and blend them together seamlessly so that it helps you adopt them and walk towards health. Nutrition science is very huge and complex. I have put in 3 plus 2 plus 8 years of formal education into it. So I have tried my best to simplify it to such an extent that anybody from any background will be able to digest it, assimilate it, and appreciate it. And all of them are evidence-based, either from the research background or from the case studies of my own clients or from the ancient texts. All these are so fundamental that they will never change. They're facts. With time and research, none of these facts will change, nor should they change. If they change, they are not the fundamentals. So I bring it to such a simplified and fundamental state. And the best of all, and the uniqueness of this course is that you get to adopt all that you're learning parallelly. As we learn, we are going to adopt small little concepts every single day. And by the end of the month, you should have switched from all your old, wrong, or unhealthy habits into the healthy habits to see a new you by the end of the month in terms of maybe energy or weight or health or even reducing or tapering of the medications, and definitely in dealing with your mind and your cravings. I don't believe in any kind of return examination to test what you've understood. Your presence in the class, your participation, and most important, your adopting it is what is important to me. So the certifications will be given based on how you adopt it into your life by the end of this month. And our ancient texts beautifully put it. What is an effective way of learning? Understanding from research and texts, then using our intellect and contemplating on what we have learned and understand them deeper and put them in practice. And how do we do this? We have created a WhatsApp group where all of us are present, including me. And whatever has been discussed in the class is given as assignments, small little concepts every day in all the three concepts, ahara, vihara, and vichara. They are to be adopted and reported back in this WhatsApp group where discussions, question answers, and understanding happens at a deeper level. And this group energy is what helps us keep it together and make those important changes, which on our own sometimes might not be possible. Now, in the first chapter, I think most of this I'll be able to cover in today's session. The whole idea is to ensure that we make the right choices at the end of this course so that we don't have to need the 3 Ds in our life, which I call the doctors, the dietitians, including me, and the drugs. We should be able to manage our health at our end without the interference of these 3 people as long as possible. And that's the whole challenge in front of us. This course is very useful for people in the health sector who are working in the space of health. It could be doctors from different streams, dietitians, or in the fitness industry or the beauty industry, which will help them adopt it to help their own clients also. And coming to the second chapter, we'll be looking at, the natural elements called the Panchabhutas. Taittiriya Upanishad says, everything in this universe is made up of these 5 elements called Panchabhutas, including our bodies. Because our bodies are also made up of these 5 basic elements, it becomes very important to expose ourselves to these elements to be in health. And when something goes wrong, it becomes even more important because to mend it, to repair it, they all have a huge impact. For example, if this sari is torn, I need the material which is made of. I need cotton threads. I can't use wood or iron to mend it, right? Similarly, if the body is made up of these 5 elements, it is necessary to use these 5 elements to get back to health. So they become very important while in health and also in ill health. Just to briefly explain, ether or space. Creating a space within our body, especially in the gut, is very important because gut is not designed to work 24/7. Today, almost all the whole of the waking hours we seem to be eating. Whether it is healthy or unhealthy is a different matter. We can look into it later. But this constant eating is a toll on the gut. It cannot digest, absorb, or metabolize in the right way. And that is why nourishing the body becomes difficult. So how do we create the space? And what are the benefits of creating this space is what we learn under ether. Then going on to air, we understand that there is a pranic system inside our body very similar to the circulatory system. And when there is an imbalance in this pranic system, the adi is created, which percolates into the body to create vyadhi, the diseases. So how do we create this balance in the pranic system is what we look at in this particular natural element. And then we go on to the fire and look at the benefits of exposure to the sunlight, which is the primary source of energy for all life on earth. Then going on to water, I do have clients who reach me saying, I drink 4 liters of water, 5 liters of water, and I can't understand why and how. People think eat wrong and drink a lot of water and it gets flushed off as if we have a hose pipe from mouth to anus, and how much of toll it takes on our kidneys. So it's very important not to drink either extremes, too very less or more. And we understand how much exactly for each of us, because it's not anything which is generalized for all of us. And here we learn some basic concepts of nature cure of water treatments, immersions, and wet packs and things like that. And coming to the earth, this is the food which comes onto the plate from the earth. So we learn every aspect from the soil health towards harvesting, transportation, the markets, then buying them, bringing them home, and storing, pre-preparation, cooking at every part of it. How do I get the maximum nourishment from everything which comes from earth? Moving ahead, second, just yeah. So moving ahead, we seem to, when it comes to the micro and macronutrients, they are like fuel and the raw materials for healing and repair. We've never understood the mechanism of this machine, the magnificent machine called human body, because it is never taught in our universities nor at homes how this body works, what is the fuel for this body, and what should go in and shouldn't go in. It's all about our I like this, I don't like this, is what goes into my system. Every machine we buy, from the smallest to the biggest, even when I buy a cooker or a mixer for my kitchen, I get a user's manual. Right from that smallest machine to the car standing in front of my house, I always get a user's manual. And we understand everything about this machine, how to use it, but for the body, isn't it? How much drama we make when we buy a car. We try to understand every model available in the market. We then figure out what are those which we are interested. Then go personally check out for people who are using those models and understand what is their perspective. Take multiple test rides till the fellow stops taking our calls, and read the manual A to Z, understand how to take care of it, and then decide and buy the costliest model with lot of pride and take care of it. Do we ever put petrol into a diesel car or a diesel into the petrol car? We never make that mistake, isn't it? But when it comes to the human body, as I said, we do what we feel like. So it's important to understand what happens inside our body and how each nutrient behaves so that we can make the right choices. When it comes to human body and food, both are complex systems. When it comes to complex systems, they both food and body interacts with each other and its own parts to work in synergy to create the desired health. So we cannot break them down into its parts and expect them to work in isolation. When it comes to these complex systems, we always should be looking at creating balance or harmony. And that is why human system has to be addressed as one whole unit. And similarly, food also should be used as wholesome food. And that's exactly what we shall understand in the next chapter. Each food group, how do we make them wholesome? Why is it called wholesome? And what are the right sources from this chapter? With a lot of understanding of research from all the three philosophies. And by the end of this chapter, we should be able to create a healthy, balanced meal after meal, day after day for ourselves, our family, whatever the gender, age, or the profession or the physical activity they are in. In the next chapter, we shall understand a lot about disease. Counting calories is one of the biggest blunder I feel nutrition science has done. We need to unlearn that and start counting nutrients. And that's what we learn after that. And as soon as I say disease, it looks like a scary affair. But Nature Cure has a beautiful way of dealing with this concept. It says an acute disease is something as a reminder to us to help us identify that something is going wrong and we need to take care of this. And so they're all called friendly diseases. And when these friendly acute diseases are not taken care or suppressed, they turn into chronic diseases over a period of time. And Nature Cure teaches us to deal with the cause and not the symptom. So in this chapter, we learn the basic causes of the major lifestyle disorders, right from obesity, diabetes, hypertension, dyslipidemia, cardiovascular diseases, and gut disorders, right from constipation to diverticulosis and hemorrhoids and things like that. So we'll understand the causes and what are the solutions for all these diseases. And we will end with this chapter on yogic philosophy of food, where we learn the concept of sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic nature of food and how it has an impact on our mind. And as I said, what happens in the mind is what matters finally. And that is what we learn. Yogic philosophy is considered as the Indian psychology. So we learn all about how to manage or train this mind, because I've worked with thousands of people in these last 25 to 30 years. I've understood different perspectives of how to deal with different problems when it comes to health and food. And I shall share all those tools which have helped me and my clients so that you can adopt them to help yourself. So with that introduction, let's start some amount of learning and unlearning in today's session. Let's start with the simple question of why eat right. And I would like to answer this question with this very short, powerful video. well, I'm sure all of us wish and pray that we live the way the man in the left hand side was shown, isn't it? All of us want to be healthy, fit, and mobile till our last breaths. We wish so, but what are we doing towards that? It is so important, right? We cannot wish without putting in some time and efforts towards that. So, some of you, especially youngsters, might feel I've been eating wrong and living wrong for quite some time and I'm all well. So, why even believe you? So, for all of those people who have this question in your mind, when the body is young and working to its optimum, you do any kind of abuse, it always, one second, please. Yes. So I was trying to say, it always corrects itself and brings back the body to health. But as we age, there is a limit for this correction, right? Some time, depending on our heredity, depending on the circumstances, the stresses in our lives, and the way we respond to life, it starts breaking down, organ after organ. Things of different nature creep in. And at that point of time, it becomes very challenging. So it is very important to take care of health. It is like buying a mixer. When it is new, I can even put sand into it and grind it into a fine powder. If I keep doing it for a week or 10 days, it'll stop even grinding the softest of the fruits, isn't it? Because the blades turn blunt. Exactly like that, when the body is young and working optimally, it feels as if whatever I do is still okay, but eating and living right is very important to ensure that body is fit and healthy for a longer period of time. Unfortunately, with any amount of wealth and money, you cannot buy health. It has to be earned. Exactly like you put in some time, effort, and work 8 hours in a day for a whole month to bring back your paycheck. Exactly. We have to put in some time and effort into earning this health. There are no shortcuts. There are no quick fixes when it comes to health. And whether your goals are to serve the society or earn money or have desires to fulfill, or you're just looking at your spiritual growth and liberation, whatever your goals are in life, this is the only tool you have to reach towards your goal. When this is the only tool, it is so important, isn't it, to take care of it so that you can reach all those goals. And to reaffirm what I've been saying, today's modern medical science and technology has made our lives longer with all the procedures and drugs. We have started living longer. But what is the quality of life? Of the 100 years, if you are running around to doctors, druggists, and diagnostic centers, the 50 years, what is the kind of life we have? So we have to seriously look into what we are doing. I know the pain because elderly people reach me. They are dealing with multiple diseases, multiple drugs, and they literally have tears in their eyes and ask me, when will this end? How we wish we could do whatever we want and one day decide, okay, I'm done and I wish to leave, and it could happen. Unfortunately, it doesn't. What we sow, we need to reap. So we have no escape from that suffering when we don't take care. And also, today's family has a different scenario. Probably my generation was the last generation which lived with their parents and parents-in-laws and taking care of them. But our children, their work takes them far away from homes, and in old age, there's nobody who can be loving and caring around us. So old age and suffering becomes even more horrible. I'm not trying to scare anybody. It is just being aware so that we make the right choices. One of the senior monks of Ramakrishna Mission said, "Don't abuse the horse which you cannot dismount." It is this kind of a horse which you cannot dismount. So we better take care of our health. What happens if I'm already sick or have different diseases? Whether you're healthy, want to maintain health, or you're already unhealthy and want to reverse your diseases, it has an opportunity. Why? Because everything inside the body is changing at such rapid speeds and constantly changing at every level: atomic level, subatomic level, molecular level, cellular level. Lots of things are changing every moment, all our lives. And this gives us a beautiful window of opportunity to make the right choices. For example, the cells aligning our stomach and intestines die, and new cells are rejuvenated from anywhere between a week to 2. Some of the blood cells, depending on what blood cells, die and rejuvenate in few weeks to few months. The heart cells, almost 0.5% to 10% of the heart cells get rejuvenated every year. And the subneuronal part of the hippocampus, every day, almost 700 new neurons are added all our lives. So when such new cells are being rejuvenated every day, if we provide the right inputs, the new cells coming up will be healthy and take us towards health. If we continue to do the wrong practices, it continues to get worse. So here is a window of opportunity. Also, we need to understand this human system is made intrinsically to stay in health, not to be in ill health. Every opportunity given, it starts to thrive and get back to health. This reminds me of a beautiful story, and I have never got tired of repeating this story again and again and again. This has been published in Amar Chitrakatha, but I heard it from the Swamiji, and he narrates it beautifully. There was a sage who went to have a bath, and he was trying to give salutations, that is arghya, to the sun god. And when he took water in his palms, he found a little baby mouse in his palm. He felt pity and wanted to save this little mouse. So he walked to the bank of the pond to leave it and noticed a hawk. So he closed his palm, walked to his hut, and left the mouse. And now, not knowing how to take care of a mouse with his yogic powers, it seems he turned it into a human baby, a baby girl. And he looked after the baby. He loved her so much and cared for her. He got very attached to this daughter of his. And as she came of age, he decided, he was going to find a perfect, strong, handsome groom for her. And no lesser than the sun god, he approaches with her to the sun god and says, "Will you marry my daughter?" And even before the sun god replies, the daughter wants a clarification. She says, "Are you the strongest like my father says?" And the sun replies, "No, sometimes the clouds cover me. Probably they are more strong." And so both the father and the daughter reach the clouds and ask the same question. And the daughter asks again, "Are you the strongest?" And the clouds say, "No, wind blows me the way they want." And so they are more powerful. And both of them reach the winds, and the winds say, "No, the mountains stop me." And then they reach the mountains. And when the questions are repeated, the mountain says, "I am very strong, but that little mouse can make a burrow from this end to that end inside me." And now suddenly this girl gets excited and says, "I want to marry that mouse." What I'm trying to say is that intrinsic natural nature inside us doesn't disappear. It will always stay. And so, because our innate nature is to be in health and to be in bliss, always our bodies and mind are looking for an opportunity to bring back the body into health. Can you all please mute yourself as long as I'm talking? Thank you. Now that we have understood that we have to take care of our health, where do we depend on? Is the next question. We have depended on these two industries for long, the food industry and the medical industry. Let's look at the food industry. There was a study done where the researchers said, "Let's remove all the packets which have sugar in them because we know how bad sugar is or how toxic the sugar is." Unfortunately, till very recently, no governments dare to ban sugar in spite of knowing how harmful they are to general public. I've been shouting at the top of my voices about all of this from decades. And I'm so glad recently ICMR has taken a strong stand towards the RDA or the allowance of sugar. Now, I'm sure none of us will be surprised at the end result of this research where there were no packets left on the shelves of the supermarkets. Why? Because every bottle, packet, tin had some amount of sugar. Why do factory-made foods have sugar in them? Basically, two reasons. One, sugar is a preservative. So it adds shelf life to their products. Second, sugar is addictive. Millions of dollars are poured into this so-called industry of health scientists, where they create perfect concoction to the food industry so that we get addicted to these foods. Today, research shows that sugar is more addictive than many of the traditional drugs. So we have no control over that. Our minds will want it. Saif Ali Khan in the advertisement would rightly say, "You can never stop with a packet of Lay's chips. It is designed so, and we can never stop at one. We will need more and more every day, similarly, at the same time, and there is no end to it." Now, how can you depend on the legalities of this institution? It is important for us to take it into our hands, because ICMR, as late as few weeks back, 2024, clearly shared that the labels claimed by these food industry packets might be wrong. Now let's come to the medical industry. I'm here not to blame anybody. When it comes to medical industry, doctors are trained and educated to diagnose everything which goes wrong perfectly inside our systems and treat them with drugs and procedures. They're very good at that, and that's exactly their profession. We can't expect doctors to sit with us and talk to us about food, and they're not trained to do that. In the whole of their study of 5 years of MBBS, I understand they get 5 hours of study about nutrition. How can they guide us in food and nutrition? Medical industry is about taking care of sick people. It cannot take care of wellness, isn't it? So stop putting responsibility into somebody else, and let us take care of our health, is what I'm trying to say by explaining all of this. It seems in China, they used to have family doctors. These family doctors were paid at the end of the month when no member of the family falls sick. It's such a beautiful concept, isn't it? I wish we have such kind of doctors. And more important, I think dietitians and nutritionists have a huge role to play here, because in every locality, every community, we can create multiple such holistic nutritionists who can cater to the smaller community and take care of their eating and living habits, so that we can create a better, healthy society around us. This is something which I generally see, and I really can't understand what other packets in the rest of the supermarket are doing if there is one counter which says health section. Now, as I said, we need to take care of our health. Where do we start? Go to a huge pathology lab, get all the blood work done and the body work done, get the report and compare the so-called normal values. If the numbers match, happy, continue to do all the old ways of wrong eating and living. If they don't, drug yourself or supplement yourself and continue to live and eat unhealthy. Is a very wrong idea. And I bring in the concept of nature cure here, which beautifully explains you don't need an external agency to tell you if you are healthy or not. It'll be good if you would want to make note of these, to take a paper and a pen so that you can make a self-assessment. And at the end of this slide, you will be able to decide whether you're healthy or not. The very first parameter which Nature Cure talks about is the feeling of well-being. It says, if you don't feel well from within, even though there are no diseases, just the absence of disease, it does not mean we are well or we are healthy. That feeling of well-being has to be there from within. Lot of clients reach me with huge files with all the parameters done, and their complaint is all the values are normal, all the parameters seem to be normal. My doctor also says all is well, but I don't feel well within. Something is going wrong. Can you help me? So the first parameter which Nature Cure tackles is, are you feeling well within both body and mind? The second simple parameter it talks about is timely and effortless elimination of waste first thing in the morning. How many of us have time for this exercise first thing in the morning? We have so many important things to take care of, and this is the last priority. But Nature Cure says, unless you remove all the waste and toxins accumulated of yesterday, first thing in the morning, and cleanse, this is what is going to rot inside and create toxins, and over a period of time lead to many diseases and disorders. Toxemia is a huge concept in Nature Cure, and all the diseases are based on this particular concept. And if you cannot eliminate easily without any effort, Nature Cure says you are not healthy. Keen hunger. How many of us can declare or say that I can create keen hunger? We don't even know the meaning of keen hunger today because we keep eating every few hours. How can there be an appetite, forget about hunger, if we keep eating constantly through the day? It's not about being healthy food or unhealthy food, but something being popped into my mouth constantly is a very wrong idea. Nature Cure says once you eat a meal, it has to be completely broken down, absorbed, and metabolized completely. Only then the hunger satiety hormones start working and signaling, and then hunger is created. Wait till that clear, keen hunger is created before you eat the next meal. It even goes to the extent of saying you have no right to eat the next meal unless this keen hunger is created. And if you're not capable of creating this keen hunger, something is badly wrong, especially with the gut. Deep sleep. Today, youngsters have so much to do on their tables, and elderly have so much to worry on their heads. Looks like deep sleep is a huge question to most of us. With the mind constantly chattering and worrying, to come to a relaxed state and put ourselves into sleep has become a challenge. Why is sleep so important? It is in deep sleep during the night where the repair and rejuvenation hormones are released. And it is very important to be in deep sleep so that this repair happens on a daily basis, every single night. Lots of things go wrong in the body the whole of the day, and all that needs to be corrected on a daily basis before we start the next day. Unless we get deep sleep, these don't get repaired and they get accumulated, and over a period of time leads to many, many diseases and disorders. So it is very important to get deep sleep. If we are not getting, we know we are not in clean health. Cheerful mind. If we have a pain or an ache here and there, how can we be cheerful in mind? With the constant suffering, it's almost impossible to have a cheerful mind. None of the body parts should remind us of its presence for us to have this kind of mind. Do we have one? A fit body. Unfortunately, today, the industry celebrates huge body by telling us being obese is okay by offering bigger cinema seats, larger thalis, and larger dresses. It's absolutely not okay to be obese because obesity is the mother of all kinds of diseases. It's important to take measures to ensure we are fit. Absence of laziness. Being active and energetic through the day and be able to do our daily activities properly is a sign of sattvic, healthy mind. If there is laziness or lethargy, it is all about tamasic mind, which nature cure and yogic philosophy clearly states is a diseased mind. So, where do we stand? Graceful movements. Today, even at 40 and 50, we need some help to sit from the ground level, to stand and to sit back, isn't it? With all the wrong postures and more of exercise to the mind and no exercise or physical activity to the body, we are creating these ungraceful movements and we need to correct them. And finally, body is capable of creating and keeping the whole of the body in a equally distributed heat. But if it doesn't happen, something is wrong. So these are the parameters which Nature Cure suggests. Check for yourself how healthy you are. What if some of the parameters or all of the parameters, or to some extent, we don't fit in? All you need to do is check your habits and correct your habits of eating and living. My master, Arun Sharma ji, who is a wonderful naturopath from the Pudukottai school, where his grandfather was considered as the father of nature cure in India, is my master and mentor. And he puts it beautifully. Every time you have a disease or sickness, every time something goes wrong, don't go and get your parameters checked. Check your habits and correct them, and all the parameters get corrected on their own. At this point, I would like to take a minute to be grateful to all my masters, gurus, teachers, and mentors who have made me what I am by teaching all the right things and making me a better human being. And my family also has a huge contribution in this, especially my husband, who stood with me and encouraged me with all the activities and learning I have done. I'm grateful to all of them. Now, I just want to leave you with a thought. We seem to know some few hundreds of these parameters happening inside our body. And every few days, many more things are discovered and are added into these lists. What happens to all those reactions happening inside our body, which we still have not figured out, nor do we know the normal values for all of those? Hasn't our body been taking care of all of those which we don't know? Why the hell are we bothered about these few which we know and try to correct them on a continuous basis? Try to understand, if we knew all those thousands of parameters happening inside our body and know the right values also, if we started correcting all of them, we would end up in NIMHANS very soon. We will go crazy, isn't it? So why check these few parameters? Let us correct our habits is all what I'm trying to say. And again, bringing in nature cure perspective, it defines health and disease beautifully. It says, if life is existing in a filthy environment filled with toxins and waste matter, the body is bound to get into disease sooner or later. But if life exists in a clean environment, a clean body, health thrives. Such a simple, beautiful concept. We'll learn more as we go ahead. Our whole idea is to keep this body clean. And one of the ways is today's assignment, time to learn or put to practice what we have learned. So let us create a practice or a habit for elimination, because we have understood it is such an important act on a daily basis. So, first thing in the morning, as soon as you wake up, instead of figuring out where your phone lies, I'm sure for most of us, it's lying right beside us. It's important to walk into the bathrooms and ensure we eliminate completely in a relaxed way. What do? Sit on the pot in a relaxed way for not a couple of minutes, for 10 to 15 minutes. That is when complete elimination happens. If it's already happening, wonderful. If it's not happening, let us create this habit. It might take a few days to few weeks for this habit to be created. So have patience and sit on the pot. To sit on the pot for such a length of time, it is very important to keep your bathrooms clean. Now, if you have Indian toilets, wonderful. If you don't, use a step stool to create that kind of an angle so that right from duodenum, things can be flushed out. And when I say relaxed, no phones and newspapers go into the toilet. I feel very sad to see most of the clients who reach me have this habit. And that's exactly why things are not happening. This business, which should happen first thing in the morning, does not happen because we are tensed. It is not something happening down below, it is which is happening in our minds. If we are constantly tensed, it does not relax the muscles and the nervous system which is required for this business. So it's important to relax yourself and create this habit. If it doesn't happen, probably you can brush your teeth, sip a glass of warm water, massage your abdomen very gently, and then go and sit on the pot. And when you do this for a few days, it will start responding. So let me repeat. Sit on the pot for 10-15 minutes, relaxed, if possible, Indian toilets. Observe breathing and stay calm. If need be, brush, sip a glass of water and massage your abdomen few times clockwise and go back to sit on the pot. Body will recognize and adopt soon to eliminate first thing in the morning. And only people who have constipation know what I'm saying. They know the pain of not being able to eliminate completely and how uncomfortable it feels both in body and mind. Similarly, all those people who have complete elimination first thing in the morning know what I'm trying to say. Both extremes cannot be explained through words. That freshness, that lightness, that emptiness, both in the body and mind, feels so nice when you are able to eliminate completely in the morning, isn't it? So let's put this into practice. All of you from tomorrow morning, first thing in the morning, start practicing this. And especially those people who have enrolled into my complete course, you have no choice. You will have to report back in the WhatsApp community. So tomorrow morning, see what happens and report back. Whatever happens, doesn't matter. It just needs to be aware and you start doing it. Doing is all what I need. So with this much of this chapter, let me get into, I will continue this chapter in the next session. And today I want to discuss a few things or concepts I have randomly picked up from the course, one topic from each of these heads, which can be useful for everybody. When it comes to ahara, the food, I want to discuss about essential nutrients which are required for healing and rejuvenation or reversal of diseases. There are 4 classes of nutrients: vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and phytochemicals. I will go to vitamins, of which I have chosen one vitamin today, that is B12, because many people seem to be concerned about vitamin B12. Every vitamin, every mineral is very important for the proper functioning of the body. When it comes to vitamin B12, it is very important because it takes part in the synthesis of the genetic material DNA and RNA. It is necessary, or it takes part in the synthesis of red blood cells which carry oxygen. It takes part in the metabolism, that is getting energy from the foods we eat, and also it takes part in the health of the myelin sheath, which covers and protects every nerve cell, without which conduction between the nerve cells cannot happen. So it's a very important vitamin doing a lot of vital functions inside our body. And coming to the sources, where do I get this vitamin B12? Plants do not make B12. Neither do animals make B12. Only microbes present everywhere in the atmosphere of this planet Earth, blanketing this planet, produce B12. Let me explain. We are told that B12 is got from animal products or animal foods, but they don't make them. None of us are capable of creating or synthesizing or producing B12 inside our bodies. What happens is, after the death and decay, the microbes take over these animal products. They are either fermenting or putrefying these products, and they are producing B12. And so we get B12 when we consume these animal products. Hope this is clear. Why depend on these secondary sources for B12? Why can't we directly depend on the primary sources, the microbes, is my question. When I say microbes, most of us are conditioned to think and be scared of microbes. You don't have to be. Without microbes, existence of life cannot happen. They are the scavengers on this planet Earth. We have abused and kind of harmed this planet to such an extent. If they were not there, there wouldn't be an inch of space on this planet to put our foot on. We would have made it so kind of a bin, isn't it? So their presence is absolutely essential on this planet and inside us also. Microbes are present on the body, inside the body, especially in the gut, and the maximum amount of microbes are seen in the large intestine. And it needs to be that way. If they're not, we get into trouble. So microbes are not something to be scared of. But when we have filth inside our body, we attract the wrong kinds of microbes, that is, the potentially harmful pathogens. And there also, they are there to clear off that filth which we have collected. But in that process, we could get sick. And so, not to worry about microbes. Inside our body also, more than our human cells, we find the microbes cells. There are 100 trillions of microbes inside us, and they're more than our body cells and genes themselves. So how do we increase these microbes in our system to get my vitamin B12 is the next question. Dr. Erica is a scientist and a researcher. from Stanford University of Medicine, and she has worked on microbiota for a number of decades. And what I'm going to discuss in this particular slide, most of it comes from her work and otherwise also. The first thing towards increasing these microbes, the friendly or the beneficial bacteria and the microbes in our gut, is by increasing fiber. Why fiber? Because fiber is a food for these microbes. And when you feed them naturally, they will thrive and multiply and become more in quantity inside our guts. Now, we cannot digest fiber because we don't have any enzymes as human beings to digest this fiber. This fiber reaches the large intestine and feeds these microbes, and they start multiplying. And it happens in a few weeks. It doesn't take too long because, let me give you an example. We take a liter of milk and add 1 spoon of curd into it, isn't it? Which has live microbes. In few hours, the whole liter of milk is turned into curd, just with that 1 spoon of microbes. So they are so effective. All of them can multiply. But the key here is variety. The more fiber you eat, the more microbes you can create. The more variety of fibers you eat, the more variety of microbes you can create. A lot of research has gone into this area today, and some and most data is suggesting, where is the research happened? They have taken tribal people from all over the world and looked at what they eat and their poops. They eat everything wild, natural, and most of it is raw. So they seem to have created huge amounts of microbes in their guts and in their system. And the variety is so diverse that you don't find anywhere else. And they have found that all those microbes are present in their poop. And what are they trying to do now? They're collecting this poop from all over the world, from these tribal people, processing them and putting them into pills, the capsules. So I and you have choices, two choices. One, either to put in some amount of time and effort to creating fiber-rich meals for ourselves, or popping a poop pill. The choice is yours. How do we create this increased fiber meals is the next question. The fiber from each food is different. The fiber which is in apple is different from the fiber which is in papaya or banana. The fiber which is on rice is different from the fiber which is on wheat. The fiber which is on a gram is different from a vegetable. So if you can get fibers from all varieties of foods in large quantities, you have done this job. But for the want of time, looks like my 50% of the course is concentrated around this fiber. But I have made a small brief video on this, and it is available on my WhatsApp channel and YouTube channel. Those of you who have registered into the course, you don't have to worry at all. I'm going to teach you in great detail and help you adopt them gradually and slowly through the next 1 whole month. But those of you who have not enrolled into my course can search this. Atul, if you don't mind, if you can share the links to these channels, people can find them and understand better. Especially in my WhatsApp channel, I even share recipes and meal plates so that you can get a better idea of how to create fiber-rich meals for yourself. Next, let me quickly go ahead. So as I said, including a lot of raw, fresh produce and tender coconut water also can create more microbes inside our guts. And this is a very important concept which Dr. Erica stresses on always. Spending time with natural elements. Find time in a day to, use your hands and feet in the natural soil and sand and grass. Work with soil or have a walk in fresh air. Expose yourself to the sunlight. You don't have to go to Himalayas to do this. Just go for a walk when there is sunlight in fresh air and probably walk barefoot, foot at least for some time, and you get all of them together, right? You don't have to do any extra efforts towards this. By doing this, you can collect a lot of wonderful, varied microbes into your system, which can help us. And another thing which Dr. Erica talks about is grow something very simple in your houses. If you have a garden, wonderful. If not, have a couple of pots and grow something as simple as maybe coriander or microgreens or curry leaves or drumstick leaves or something. Water them and wash them in the sense of watering them. You clean them every day. But when you pluck them, do not wash them again. Add them raw into your salads and consume them so that you get all those microbes into your system gradually on a daily basis. Opt for natural births and normal deliveries where huge amount of accumulated microbes in the mother's body gets transferred immediately into the infant, and large amount of research body shows that this infant can be infection free in the first few months of life and is much, much healthier, and the gut matures more quickly and accepts food by 6-8 months in a better way and grows into a healthier adult. Same with breastfeeding. I'm a lactation consultant also. I see a lot of mothers who reach me who proudly tell me, I wash my breast before feeding. You have lost all the bacteria which was supposed to go into your infant. Don't do that. There are some mothers who go to the extremes of washing their breast with Dettol's. Please don't do that. Transfer all those wonderful microbes to your infant and make them healthier. And if you have access to natural sources of water, maybe like well or a pond, you are blessed. Get water from there for your drinking. Of course, clean them in the sense of don't boil them. The minute you boil it, you lose all the microbes. So probably you can use those old ways of filtering. When I was a little girl, I remember these simple filters which were available in the steel shops, which would have two drums where there would be candles, which simply filters the water. So those are still available, I know, and you can use them to filter your water. Maybe put them into earthen pots, tie a cloth and expose it to sunlight and air and drink them, and that would be the best way to get your vitamin B12. And beware of antibiotics. Don't pop in antibiotics unnecessarily unless it is life-threatening. These are of real concern because they can kill the whole of the gut bacteria and keep it in that state for much, much long, for weeks to months, depending on your gut health. And stop sanitizing yourself and the environment around. I'm not trying to say don't clean your houses, don't clean your environment, don't keep yourself clean. It is not so. All I'm trying to say is don't go to the extent of sanitizing yourself using sanitizers, alcohol, strong chemicals, the cleaning agents, the soaps, the shampoos, everything matters. If you sanitize yourself to such an extent with antibacterial liquids and soaps, you lose a lot of them. So don't do that. And finally, dysbiosis. Of course, this is a huge chapter I'm going to deal with in the course as we go ahead. But just to briefly tell you, dysbiosis is where the pathogens increase in our gut and the beneficial bacteria get low. This is a very dangerous situation. How do we create this? By eating a lot of processed foods which are high in sugar, saturated fats, which come from animal products and the animal protein. All of this creates dysbiosis. Stop this. By doing all of this, you can help your body get enough B12 to be in health. And this has been clearly said in the research papers, as recent as published in 2023, clearly says it is possible that daily recommendations of B12 can be got with varied diet. Please underline that, varied diet containing non-animal B12 food sources. Of course, some of the important things which this paper discusses is fermented products, then nutritional yeast, and some kinds of seaweeds also. That is exactly why I've put up the next research point, which was published in 1999, which says this particular algae also has enough of B12, which is biologically active. I don't recommend any of these. I always believe in natural ways and getting everything in the natural means. I always ensure people do this when they reach me and they have increased their B12 levels naturally. Let me go on to the minerals, and I've chosen calcium. Again, this is something which a lot of people are concerned about. Calcium is not just about creating strong, healthy bones and teeth or skeletal system, but calcium has important functions other than these. Proper functioning of our nervous system, proper functioning of the muscles, proper functioning of the heart, then proper release of hormones, then proper activation of enzymes, and much more. But here, let me stick to the healthy bones. The sources of calcium, I don't have to say, we have enough information. Probably you know better than me. If you Google, you'll get the whole list, but don't get obsessed with all of this. When you eat wholesome foods, you will get all of them. So some of the rich sources of calcium, just to name a few, are the millets, especially the ragi, then unrefined poha or the beaten rice, then almost all kinds of grams, especially the Bengal gram, till, all kinds of nuts and seeds, and especially green leafy vegetables are very rich in calcium. Now, if you get tons and tons of calcium, bones and teeth do not become stronger and healthy. It is much more to it. There are a lot of studies done, and I'm just bringing in one of them. There was a study done with Eskimos. The recommended allowance for calcium on a daily basis for all of us is 1.2 grams of calcium per day. And these Eskimos seem to get 4 to 5 grams of calcium every single day because their diet is like that. They eat fish with soft bones and they consume the bones also. And so they get a lot of calcium on a daily basis. And yet, research shows that these people have the highest amount of hip fractures in the world. Why? If they're getting so much more calcium, they should have had the strongest of the bones, isn't it? Think about that. Why is it their bones are not healthy? Is because they don't get sunlight. When they don't get sunlight, vitamin D is not made inside their body, and vitamin D is essential to absorb this calcium which we consume. So if you consume good amount of calcium, it's not enough. You have to expose yourself to the sunlight to create that kind of vitamin D inside our body to absorb them. And that's not all. Even when your body absorbs good amount of calcium, it is important for that to deposit into our bones properly. For that deposition to happen, we need resistance exercise. The older you get, the more necessary to do this resistance exercise using your own body. As simple as good brisk walk is good enough. A little Surya Namaskaras are good enough to do this job for us. And the next thing which research shows is less of sodium, more of potassium. Where do we get this combination? Everything which nature makes has this. Look at all your fruits, vegetables, green leafy vegetables. They'll be low in sodium and rich in potassium. All that is man-made, all that is factory made will be exactly opposite of that. High in sodium, rich in potassium. So increase the fresh produce. And again, vitamin C, citrus fruits and vegetables, and all fresh produce will give us vitamin C, which helps in proper calcium absorption. Vitamin K, which comes from green leafy vegetables, magnesium, which comes from nuts and seeds. All of this helps better absorption of calcium and deposition so that our bones and teeth become healthier. And also calcium can perform all the other functions which I mentioned. And lastly, it is very important that we don't consume acid-forming foods which create acidic environment inside the body. When this acidic environment gets created, body tries to bring in calcium from the bones to nullify, to buffer this acid environment to make it alkaline, where we lose a lot of calcium from the bones, and that gets excreted through the kidneys. So it's important to not create acidic environment. What creates acidic environment? The animal products and sugar. Now let's get on to the next important concept which I want to share with you is inflammation. Inflammation is a very important defense mechanism we have to protect ourselves and repair ourselves at emergencies. Say we had an injury or there is an infection. But when there is low-grade inflammation for a longer period of time is when we get into problem. And that is what is happening today, which is creating all kinds of diseases we are suffering with. And this is what the research paper, whatever I told you in simple common man terms, is what I'm trying to read from a research paper. Although intermittent increases in inflammation are critical for survival during physical injury and infection, recent research has revealed that certain social, environmental, and lifestyle factors can promote systemic chronic inflammation that can, in turn, lead to several diseases that collectively represent the leading cause of disability and mortality worldwide. This paper was published in 2019. So I will be continuously teaching every concept in three ways. One in common man's language, one in the scientific language, and then summarize it. So every concept is taught three times, so nobody will miss, and you don't have to question whether I will understand. So based on this, let us understand what happens, what is creating this long-term chronic inflammation, what is this inflammation, and how can we solve this. I think, already running out of time, and I'm going to be brief and quick now. See, what happens inside the body is when molecules break down into atoms. You don't have to know more than this. I hope you remember your school biochemistry or chemistry. Molecules break down into atoms which they are made of. Some of the atoms are created in such a fashion where an electron is missing in their orbit. That is, they have an unpaired electron. Do you see? This is a pair of electron. And in this pair, one of them is missing. And this is called a free radical. This is dangerous because they are very unstable. What do I mean? When they're unstable, they're always looking at stealing an electron from the next atom, like this. When they steal an electron from the next atom, they become stable and the next atom becomes unstable. And this starts trying to steal an electron from the next atom. And this is a chain reaction and it starts damaging things. It could be at a cellular level, it could be at a protein level, it can be at the DNA level also. Wherever this process of inflammation is happening, wherever these free radicals are produced, this kind of damage is happening and is continuing to happen, and that is where we get into trouble. So what is the solution? This is how they damage the cells with oxidative stress. What is the solution? There are something called antioxidants. What are they? They have a lot of electrons in their outermost orbit, and they're ready to donate happily. And they don't become unstable when they donate it also. They are absolutely stable. And we want these antioxidants so that they can nullify the effects of free radicals. Where do we get these antioxidants from? Again, most of it we get from the fresh produce, whole plant-based foods, fruits, vegetables, green leafy vegetables, berries, and then the dry fruits and the nuts and the seeds, and all of these are rich in antioxidants. But I don't feel satisfied with just answering this question in this way. My whole idea is to question the cause. Why are we even creating these free radicals in the first place? Should be our question. Let us look into that. See, free radicals are created inside our body for everything which is happening. Even simple eating, digestion, and metabolism also creates free radicals. Doing some physical activity creates free radicals. Every activity being done inside the body creates free radicals. We cannot get rid of them. It is natural and it is as it happens. And here it is wise to provide those antioxidants to nullify the effect. But there are many things which creates more free radicals which needs to be taken care of. One, all the strong chemicals which are in different ways for that matter. It could be industrial pollution, air pollution in different ways, and the exposure to ionic radiation, which can be even X-rays. They create huge amount of free radicals. Disturbed sleep. Try to make provision for your good sleep. The stresses we go through. Don't bite into what you can chew on. All the unhealthy foods or the factory-made foods, along with alcohol and smoking. Dysbiosis, I've already briefly discussed. Obesity, deal with it. Intense physical activity. This is where I want to bring in your attention. Intense physical activity increases huge amounts of free radicals. That does not mean I'm saying don't do intense physical activity. Don't do it unnecessarily is the first point. Second thing, if you do, like I also have clients who are sports persons who are into athletics and lot of things where they put in 4, 5, 6 hours of physical training. It becomes important for them because that's their profession. So you have to provide that huge amounts of antioxidants to nullify the effect. So these are the causes. Wherever possible, remove the cause. Wherever possible, decrease them so that the free radicals produced itself is the minimum, and then tackle it with antioxidants. And next is phytochemicals. As the word shows, phyto, plant, chemicals. Chemicals produced by plants. Today, in this particular slide, I have picked it up from a cancer paper. I think I have missed the reference, by the way. And it is as simple as this. I'm just going to read it out of the slide. I want you to be with me. Don't try to go ahead of me. Every time there are things, toxins, carcinogens, which are trying to damage a normal, healthy cell, when we consume a lot of phytochemicals, what do? Point number one, they detoxify and deactivate the cancer-causing agents and block the initiation process leading to DNA damage. What if it has already happened? And consuming phytochemicals are going to still help us. Go to the second point. Phytochemicals fuel cellular mechanisms to repair the damaged DNA sequences, bringing the cell back to normalcy. What if this stage is also crossed? phytochemicals still help us by stopping the duplication or multiplication of these damaged DNA cells. And if this stage is also crossed, the phytochemicals protect us against further DNA damage. And finally, phytochemicals help us by stopping the spread of these damaged cancerous cells into other parts of the body. So much does a phytochemical do. I'm only talking about cancer. I'm not talking about all other places, right? They're so important. Get these protective phytochemicals. Where? Again, plant-based foods, the whole food plant-based. Vegetables, fruits, green leafy vegetables are the major sources for all these phytochemicals, antioxidants. Get them as much as possible. If you are somebody who's eating fruits once a week, start eating them once in 2 days. Then bring it to daily affair and then bring it to increasing the quantities. So see where you stand and start increasing them. Variety and colors is the key here. Vegetables also. Start increasing the quantity in each meal, both raw and cooked. Increase the varieties and colors, and you have done your job. Next, I said I'm going to pick a small concept from Vihara. So coming to physical activity, as I said, I'm going to base on what I've discussed just now. It is very important not to do too much of intense physical activity, as if it is not required. I'll come to that. But on a daily basis, for people who are healthy, all we need is movement. What kind of movement? Movement of, the joints, the bones, the muscles, the circulation, that is movement. One second. Something is happening. Sorry. The movement of the blood, the lymphatic system, the prana, the oxygen. The movement is what is most important. So move yourself. The whole of the day, keep moving. Moving is what is important. And participate in those activities which gives you a lot of joy and you love doing. It can be as simple as gardening, dancing, playing a game, or swimming, or going for a walk, whatever gives you joy. That joy is the key here, because that is what acts like an antioxidant, releasing the right kind of chemicals. And one of the best things you can do for yourself to bring in that movement is the traditional form of slow kind of yoga, not these new hot, power yoga and all those kinds of yoga. The traditional slow yoga, which involves a lot of breathing, is what is important, because it brings in this movement and also triggers off the parasympathetic nervous system, which brings in that calmness and the right kind of chemicals, which will not trigger the production of free radicals. Everything will. It reduces the free radicals. And finally, if you are obese, you definitely need some amount of intense physical activity for a short period of time till you overcome that. But after that, it is the movement which is required, not intense physical activity, is what I wanted to share under this. And lastly, I would want to conclude with this particular concept of mind. These two words, moderation and discipline, as a coach, bothers me a lot, because most people who reach me, first thing they declare is, I do everything in moderation. What do they actually mean? They do all the wrong things in moderation. And I feel like asking them, are you okay with a mild heart attack, moderate stroke, or a borderline diabetes? But I don't have to say that. That's what I feel like is what I'm trying to say. And the other word is discipline. Most people, and especially youngsters, think discipline is curtailing their freedom. But for me, my perspective is different. And I might be wrong with my perspective. I feel I'm ready to do anything and to go to any extent to have the freedom of not suffering. I repeat, to ensure I don't suffer with pain and disease and disorder, I am ready to put in some amount of time to eat and live right and disciplined life. So let's understand a little bit about these two words. I would request all of you to please mute yourselves so that we don't disturb. And when my thought process gets disturbed, I might miss saying things. So please mute yourselves for another few minutes, maybe probably 5 to 7 minutes, and I'm done. So I have chosen this beautiful shloka from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verse 17, where Sri Krishna talks about both these words, moderation and discipline. Let's listen to the shloka. Sorry. Mm.
युक्ताहारविहारस्य युक्तचेष्टस्य कर्मसु युक्तस्वप्नावबोधस्य योगो भवति दुःखः.
What he says is, have moderation through discipline in everything in life, whether it is eating, recreation, sleep, or waking, everything have moderation. Who's going to define this moderation now? For somebody, eating wrong once a week could be moderation. For somebody else, once in 3 months. For somebody, eating every day at least once is moderation. Who's going to define this? Let's understand this a little better. See, doing extremes is never a good idea. Buddha did this. He went to the extent of killing himself. For months together, he did not eat. And he came to a point where he would die. At that moment of dying, a village girl who was passing by named Sujata offered him a little sweet, and that made him alive. And also, these local girls were singing and dancing. The story goes that the lyrics of this song was, when there is a musical instrument, if you string the string very tight, it breaks. If it is loose, you can't create music. But when it is tied perfectly right, beautiful music can be created. When Buddha heard this song, he felt it was sung for him, and he ate that sweet offered by Sujata and kept himself alive. And that is when he started working on this moderation and found the middle path and spoke about middle path. So it's important to walk the middle path, which again reminds me of a
Shot
joke.
of very good slides. पीछे होके बैठ अच्छे से.
Can you please mute yourself, Dr. Garima? Thank you. Right. So this reminds me of a joke again from Ramakrishna Ashram. I'm a student of Swami Sarvapriyananda of Ramakrishna Mission. He talks about this particular incident in his talks. It seems a senior monk was admitted to the hospital and a group of monks went to visit him, and they asked him, "How did you break so many bones?" And the senior monk replied, "I took it too literally, and I was standing in the middle of the path on the road and a rickshaw hit me and I am in this state." So probably we should be careful of the middle path also. And this brings me to say that other than this animal called human being, every other animal knows what is moderation. If you have watched National Geographic, you will understand what I'm trying to say. You will see a huge pack of lions or tigers or cheetahs sitting and resting, and right under their nose, a herd of deer or zebras or some of those herbivores will be grazing, oblivious of the presence of each other. Right? It is so beautiful to watch that. They know that this animal or the lion or the tiger is not going to hunt unless he is hungry. And a wild animal will never hunt unless he is hungry. And even when he hunts, what does this lion or a tiger do? He kills the prey, eats as much as he wants till he feels full. He doesn't carry it on his back to his den saying, I hunted this, this is mine, and I am going to eat this. And carry that burden to his den, nor keep it, preserve it, and take care of it in his den. None of this happens. He leaves it there for the predators to eat. And when he gets hungry next, he will look into his food. Such a beautiful thing to think of, isn't it? So what I'm trying to come to is, this is what is moderation to me. This defines moderation to me. Eating only when you're hungry is moderation. Sleeping when the body is tired and sleepy, not pouring in cups and cups of teas and coffees to keep it awake, not putting in drugs and alcohol probably to put it into sleep because it cannot sleep. So all these are a problem. For me, moderation is to do what body requires at that point of time. And the key word here is what Krishna gave. He gave the solution in one word: be in yoga. What is being in yoga? Being aware every moment. When we are aware, that awareness is self-correcting. When I know I'm eating something wrong and I'm aware, maybe first time I don't care, I say, no, I want to eat. Second time, third time, I might feel a little guilty about eating that. Fourth, fifth, sixth time, I might eat lesser quantity. And going ahead with this awareness, I might stop it one day. And for each of us, this how many times we do this is different. And this is where training our mind comes into help. With that, wishing all of you a huge, beautiful awareness every moment. Allow me to end by bringing in this quote from Jim Rohn, who is an influencer and an author, who says, everyone must choose one of the two pains, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. With that, I end. Thank you so much for listening to me. And over to Atul. Maybe we can have a minute of sharing with an old client or people who have finished these courses, if time permits.
Yeah, sure. Who is going to give a testimony?
Maybe Dr. Ranjita, who are all the old clients or people who have attended. Are you people there? Can you raise your hands? Ranjita must be there. Preet must be there. And somebody seems to have raised their hands. Please check, Atul.
Yep.
Preet has raised her hand. Yeah.
Go ahead, Dr. Ranjita. You can go first. And
Yeah.
Good afternoon. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Ranjita.
Very nice to hear you, as always.
You need to be louder. Can't hear you well.
Okay, I'll increase. Better now?
Yes.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Ranjita here. I was first Dr. Gauri Rakham's client, and then because of the conviction that grew with nature cure and whole food plant-based diet, I started I did her course, holistic certification course, and then I also did the internship with her. Of course, during the journey of me being a patient with her, I learned a lot about how I was abusing myself, and also learned how I had to not do that. And I learned how the plant-based foods were going to help me reverse my disease condition. I
What were
went
the
to her.
conditions, if you can share?
I was autoimmune, Hashimoto's. And of course, I had a hold of other issues like nasal allergies, sinusitis, migraines, and many small things like that. But the major part was the hypothyroid, Hashimoto's, autoimmune. So I got over all those issues, but I was very scared to give up on the medication. And Dr. Gauri Rakam, she told me to contact my endocrinologist, and he totally refused flatly that he's not going to help me reduce the medications because he says you need to take the medication for a lifetime. And then becoming a part of a bigger nature cure community and having confidence in discussing things and where people are supporting each other, I started reducing the medication by half and quarter. And within a week or 15 days, I was off medications. It's 4 years now since I'm off medications. Since training with Dr. Gauri, I learned so many things and then started incorporating it with my family. My husband reversed his hypertension and hiatus hernia, and my daughter reversed her nasal allergies and perineal allergies that she used to suffer from throughout the year. And my mother-in-law reversed her diabetes, being an organ transplant patient. Like this, I have a lot of success stories to go. So this course helped me understand the subject deeper because when I was a client with her, it was only with myself. But with the course, I understood why I was asked to do so many things which she was asking me to do. So it helps you understand things on a deeper level. It helps you introspection into yourself. And the concept of Bhagavad Gita introduced into the course, and it keeps you thinking and becoming aware of your actions throughout the day from morning till evening.
Thank you so much, Ranjita. Coming from a family of doctors, it means a lot, which can give a lot, have a huge influence on everybody else who is wondering whether this works or not works. Thank you so much.
And through the internship, I learned a lot more by just being an observer. Thank you so much, ma'am, for the opportunity that you gave me.
Thank you, Ranjita. Back to you, Atul. You have to unmute yourself.
Sorry, do we have time for one more testimony or do you want to give?
Maybe Preet, can you take a minute and finish because we are running out of time?
Hey, hi, this is Preeti Sharma. So I was a student of you, doctor, I think 2 years ago. And what I really appreciate, I mean, I was going through my inflammation issues and then I just wanted to learn. I joined the course only to learn and just to apply it on myself. I think your teachings were so simple with examples and so logical. And I'm a science student. So everything when I was doing at that time, just around COVID and post COVID, I was cooking. So I was trying and understanding. And it helped me even now. I mean, sometimes I'll go off, but the basics are right. All the steps which you say healthy, not healthy, what we should do. You teach those basics so well that it's there with me in my heart, like almost third year now. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Preeti. Yes, back to you, Atul.
Thank you, Preeti. Ma, can you pull up that slide? I just want to spend a couple minutes talking about
Oh, really? Okay.
the course before we go into Q&A.
Yeah.
So I'm sure most of you are aware about these details, but I just want to reiterate once. So this is a month-long course, which started today and goes on till the 28th of June. That's every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 6 to 8 p.m. In total, that's 25 hours of learning, but it doesn't stop there because, as Mom explained at the beginning of the session, a lot of the learning and practical application of these concepts happens in our daily lives, and my mom monitors that over WhatsApp. So typically, her patients share meal pictures or any other concerns they have throughout the day, they share over WhatsApp, and there's a group for that now. So that's what you'll get out of the course. I want to talk about the early bird discount. That's 10% off, and we're extending that for a couple hours after the course. So 9:30, 10, I think we'll close the early bird discount. So if anybody's interested in registering, please do so before that. But registrations, however, will still be open till the second session on Monday evening. And all of you can register till then, but you will have to pay full price if you don't register tonight. I'm going to put the details and bank account details and both of our phone numbers into the chat for you guys to check it out. Let me know if you have
Amount
any
क्या बोल रही है?
questions.
जीत amount. जीत
Yeah.
amount कितना है
Atul, at
इसका?
your
Pause
end, can you not mute all of people because there are so many people still discussing. Anyway, Garima, we might not have time for you. If you don't mind sharing on the chat, it'll be nice. I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead, Atul.
Yeah, that's all I had to say. So if anybody has any questions now, you can raise your hands. Dr. Garima, I'm not sure if you have a question. That's why you raised your hand. But if you do, you can go first.
Yes.
If not, if
So
anybody else
shall
has
I
any questions,
stop sharing the screen?
you can stop sharing the screen.
Yeah. So that I can get to see everybody.
Yeah.
But I insist that everybody who wants to ask a question should open your cameras and talk to me, please.
So if anybody has questions, you can raise your hand.
Raise your hand.
Or there's nobody raising their hand right now. So if you have any question, please just go ahead and start.
That's wonderful. If nobody has a question, then maybe we can ask, is anybody unmuting to say something? Yeah, I want to hear Sheila ji speak because I have a lot of admiration and she is my mentor. If you have anything to share, that will be very nice, Sheila ji.
First of all, thank you very much, Nagarshi, for this beautiful introductory talk. And congratulations on starting this course. Apparently, I understand you have done several earlier and you're embarking on the next one too. So congratulations and best wishes for all your future courses. You're doing a wonderful job. And I always knew that you were a good dietitian, but I didn't know that you had forayed into so many other aspects of healthcare, naturopathy. And I knew you had also done a yoga course, but I didn't know you had forayed into naturopathy and all of that. Okay, coming to the question, you speak about WFPB quite a bit, but then yoga science and Ayurveda does not exclude dairy or any particular food group. Okay, maybe if you look at the Rajasic and Tamasic part of it, yes. But when you look at the Sattvic foods, even the dairy is ghee is also included there. It is not it doesn't come under WFPB. So how do you segregate the two, or how would you blend the two, so to speak? Because WFPB does not allow any visible fat or any animal food or any animal product. So what is your thought on this?
Yes, thank you so much for being here and blessing me. And to answer your question, one is I'm not speaking of Ayurveda at all because I have no clue of Ayurveda. That's a huge, beautiful science again. Each food philosophy has its own principles and concepts and ways of doing things, and that's why they don't agree with each other, and that's where common man gets into trouble because what this philosophy says is contradicting another philosophy, and they try to mix things and get confused and get into trouble. But just to answer your question, as you know, that whole food plant-based is all about not refining. That's all, right? First is it is plant-based, so no animal products involved at all. And the second thing is it's all about refinement. It should be as close as possible to the nature, the way nature has provided. So we take these two principles as the basic guiding force. And as I go ahead, it involves so much more discussion and understanding of each of the concept to answer this question. I think I will reserve it for answering at that particular time under the concept so that people understand the concept first. I hope you'll excuse me from answering
okay.
that question.
We will have a private discussion sometime later.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you and best wishes once again.
Thank you, Sheilaji. Namaste.
No, I don't think there are any other questions.
Yeah.
So
can we ask Garima to take a minute and wind it up?
Yeah.
Yeah. Garima, Dr. Garima, go ahead.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Dr. Gauri, am I audible? See, this is a personal question, but I would still ask in a group. I have autoimmune condition, which is causing lichen planus uh, in my neck, and it's like I've been put on medications which I'm not happy about. But this is so I'm on homeopathy as well as one drug which dermatologist has put. It's like to bring my immunity down. It's a immunosuppressant. It's a very low dose, but I'm just not happy with that solution. So I used to eat chicken. I did a Sattvic movement course. Savita has referred me actually to you. Savita Reddy. She's a patient of mine. Used to be a patient of mine, and she talks about you a whole lot since last 1 year. But I mean, and I have heard some of your concepts from her. So I moved to plant-based diet more recent. I mean, I was not eating chicken too much, but I've still moved to plant-based diet about 1.5 months back. Uh, and if actually I'm not available in June to take this course, I will come back in June. I'm on a trek, so I will be taking this course in the month of July or August, whenever it's available. So till then, I just want to know. Question is that by eating natural diet, since the doctor is saying it's an autoimmune condition, eating the natural diet which you will be prescribing and the concept which you will be prescribing, will I be able to reduce the autoimmune condition which is causing my lichen planus to spread?
Understood. Now, just now you heard Dr. Ranjita speaking. She's a doctor herself, and she spoke about a autoimmune disorder only, a different kind of autoimmune disorder, right? You have an issue with your skin. So all autoimmune disorders, the underlying causes are the same and the solutions are also same. But
Okay.
so there is a solution and it can be reversed is the answer, short and sweet for your question.
Okay.
But I would like
to think I have a complex. No, I have a complex of autoimmune condition. So I have also, not now, since my child was born, I have a condition called as spondyloarthropathy, which is causing my spine to develop scoliosis. And again, as per the HLA-B27 was positive. As per doctor, it's a spondyloarthropathy, and my bones are having mild fusion.
Yeah.
So it's again a complex of autoimmune conditions,
so,
which flares. Like I have a system which sometimes I'll have flare-ups, and then sometimes I'm fine.
Correct. Yeah. So the whole plant-based foods are a solution because, as I discussed under 4 heads, all of them, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and phytochemicals, which are the base material or the raw material to heal and repair and reverse diseases, are the ones which are rich in plant material, and we are looking at creating that atmosphere in every way, eating and living, right? So that is what we are going to do. And yes, it is possible based on how bad it is and how long it takes. It is the question of the amount of period, that's all, right? It is possible. And maybe you should take a understanding of all this in the course, and I will help you personally looking at
also ma'am, since I'll not be able to do the course, you do personal consultation till then?
Yes, you can get in touch with me personally. Let us stick to the questions.
Yeah, thank you.
Course right now, right? So if nobody else has a question, we can end this session. Thank you all for attending, and the next session will be on Monday as announced at 6 o'clock. Please join in 5 minutes before 6 o'clock. If anybody else who have not registered is interested, you can still go ahead, get in touch with either of us and register yourself into the course till 5 o'clock on Monday. After 5 o'clock Monday, I will not entertain anybody to enter into the course. Thank you all and wishing you all the best of health.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
1.1 kilometer में है.